Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'll be making some nice finds as I patrol the northeastern part of the map for red fox. Apparently the red fox are thriving up north, so I'm headed off to see what I can find. So first I'll have to travel to Hirschfelden and then harvest 3 foxes. So she means the highlighted Hirschfelden region, not the entire map itself. Parts of this section was featured originally in the Hunter Classic and contains ag fields, woods, hills, and meadows, and has plenty of shoreline to patrol too. Any 3 red fox, male or female, big or small, will do. Since I need to get several, I'll incorporate different hunting methods, like keeping an eye out while exploring, targeting areas based on their need zone times, or zero in on a specific need zone and see what I can find. But red fox are cunning predators, so I'll have to be extra careful as I go, keeping a close eye on my wind, noise, and visibility. Class 2 ammo and equipment will do the trick here, so I'll bring along the Ranger 243 with a scope for accuracy at a distance, as well as pair the Predator Jackrabbit collar with the Ficoso 357 handgun. Bring them in and get them at close range. When I began this mission, I already had a few aces up my sleeve. One I found while scouting Muellerwald for Sommer number 6. I also caught a quick glimpse of a funny-looking female while scouting the area for the Wild Boar's Raving mission. In both cases, I backtracked them to a rest zone, so I knew where to find them. First, I wanted to take a closer look at the female. It was mid-morning and just about the right time to go and check it out, so I spawned in at the Ritterstein outpost and began the hunt. Since the wind was blowing to the south, my approach to the zone wouldn't be detected. This also came in handy for the hike there too, and since I still needed a third, yet unknown harvest as well, I hunted for red fox as I went. But my first encounter didn't pan out the way I had hoped. I was a little anxious to keep going, so when a pheasant crossed my path, I decided to get some extra points. But my impatience betrayed me. With my cover blown here, I promised myself to be a little more patient for the next hunt. With her settling into her rest zone, I had a decent opportunity at hand. So I snuck in a little closer, looking for some cover to call from. I found a comfy bush with a fairly clear view in her direction, and began to lure her in. I caught her interest on the first try. She sponged it like a champ and made me question if my shot connected, but finally her health began to drop, so I left my bush to go take a look. Unsurprisingly, I didn't hit a vital organ. And I found her on the far edge of the field. My first harvest for the mission is an orange-colored level 5 female scoring 9.12. She would have been a high-scoring silver, but my shot hit high, and not only missed her vitals, but also hit her in the skull too. Off to a rocky start, but I continued on, hoping my luck would begin to improve. I then proceeded toward the targeted female's rest zone as I had originally planned. I headed toward a small rise in the field to scan the woods from, but wasn't careful enough of my visibility, and as a result, I ended up spooking a female fox. I never got my eyes on her though, so I snuck into the zone in case it wasn't the targeted female. But after multiple tries with no results, I came to the conclusion that I had probably blown my chance, so I gave up on her for now and moved on to my other target. On the way, I ran into a few other red fox that would have completed the mission just fine, but I had my sights set to find that 8 mythical. A short distance from the zone, I dropped a tent and set the time to stalk him in his zone. The rest area was in a row of trees with fields on all sides, so it was fairly exposed if he was going to make his way in. But it was on a bit of a hill, and I couldn't see the other side, so I circled to the back to take a look. I spotted a couple others in the zone, but no mythical 8, so I kept on circling the zone, hoping to find him hiding in the rocks. But when I made my way almost all the way around with no luck, I decided it was time for a closer inspection. When I got there, though, there wasn't a red fox to be found, including the other 2 from before. Guessing I must have spooked them on my way in once again, I stopped recording to decide what to do next. But shortly after I did so, I heard a yip behind me, so I quickly resumed recording. And there he was. Better late than never, I suppose. Trying to think on my feet, I kept a close eye on him as I searched for some cover and a clear shot. I had a good wind, and he was still calm. When he began making his way through the woods towards me, though, I pulled out the .243. Nailed him. And he is an orange mythical 8, scoring gold at 12.54, just a little over a point away from diamond, and my second best red fox to date. The Ranger .243 took him down instantly, with a shot to the left lung at 65 meters. Now I had just one more to go. It was almost time for the female to return to her mid-morning rest zone, so I picked up my tent and carefully made my way into the zone once again. I caught a female mating call on the other side of the zone, so I quickly found a spot to lay down and watch to see if she came into view. When she didn't show up, I tried the caller once again. But after several tries, she was still a no-show. Suspecting she might have been out of range for the caller, I moved up to find a closer vantage point. But as I got closer, I thought I might have heard something on my right. And when I tried to crawl on top of the rock, I heard something again. And there she was. I didn't get a great look this time either, but I thought the fur looked awfully splotchy. She went alarmed and then bolted before I was able to pull out the 357, but I now had confirmation enough to know that she was worth investigating further. This time I decided to see if I might be able to catch up with her, so I began pursuing her carefully through the trees. And sure enough, I caught her in a field just on the other side. I kept my eye trained as I began chasing her through the field. She was within range to hit with a rifle, but I didn't want to risk a shot on such a small moving target. She had gone alert but wasn't fleeing yet. If I stayed low, she might not spook, but her behavior suggested she wanted to return to her rest zone back the way she came. I kept the rifle pointed in her direction. Exposed, I began working my way backward toward cover. The slope began to rise behind me as I retreated, and she was now moving in my direction. Nervous about a frontal shot, I held my fire as she got closer and closer. When she got in range of the 357, I pulled it out and followed her with my muzzle trained. Once I had a decent shot at her vitals, I took it. Upon a closer inspection, I knew what I had suspected all along. And she is a level 4 piebald female, scoring silver at 6.74. She may not be the biggest, but she's definitely my new favorite addition to the lodge, and I absolutely love this color variation on a fox. My carefully planned shot hit further back than I would have liked, but I did get some vitals, hitting her in the left lung, liver, and stomach at 24 meters. If I wasn't so darn picky, this mission would have been over much quicker, as I was able to find red fox just about everywhere. But I'll take a high-scoring male and a beautiful rare furred female any day of the week, so getting them for a mission is just an extra bonus. If you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Conni 17 will test my patience once again, as I'll have to get up close and personal. Thanks for watching.